Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
The following portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, initial talks have taken place between Digicel and Prime Minister Perry Christie over the prospect of providing telecommunications service to the Bahamas. Yesterday, Prime Minister Christie met with former Jamaican President and Digicel consultant PJ Patterson. We spoke with the Prime Minister today about what headway they made and where the government left off with BTC on those shareholding negotiations. Here's Janaea Noel Ferguson.
At Monday's meeting with Digicel executive, former Jamaican Prime Minister PJ Patterson, Mr. Christie said they outlined the benefits of Digicel coming in, but stopped short of giving any indication of an approval.
They were prepared to assist the government in every which way in any matter to do with communications, that they were entrenched in many countries, not only in the region but around the world, and that they were prepared to help.
Prime Minister Perry Christie describing Monday's meeting with Digicel representatives as very interesting, stating that the company is hoping to enter broadband services into the Bahamian market.
They've indicated that they would come in, they would hire as many as 60 people, they would set up offices, they would do all the things that are necessary for a company that is preparing to bid for cellular services.
ERCA received applications from Digicel, BTC, and Cable Bahamas for broadband services and approved Digicel's application in July. But the Prime Minister says that before government approval can be given, the application would have to go to the Foreign Investment Board. When asked if he was prepared to open the market for wireless service before BTC's monopoly ends in 2014, Mr. Christie said this could present a legal challenge.
It would mean that liberalization would not come about for another 18 months thereafter, because it'll take the process of bidding, settling who will get the franchises, and then having them implemented. It wouldn't come about.
The Prime Minister also responded to concerns that Digicel may not be union-friendly. He said he was not aware that the company has had union issues, but he plans to meet with union leaders to hear their concerns. And as for negotiations with BTC for the government to become a majority shareholder, Mr. Christie says those talks seem to have stalled.
There have been no significant developments in that regard, and it is now the Christmas holiday.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
The Prime Minister said he has decided on the questions which will be put to the electorate come January 28th, when a referendum on gaming is to be held. He says he's awaiting cabinet approval before they're put to public discussion.
I have decided, and whether it's criticism or not, there are two options that I will be putting to the cabinet, and I will then have or cause discussions to take place with those who I know to be the proponents. I mean, I know the FNN has now launched their campaign, and they're for no, but I will meet with the Christian community as they organize through the Christian Council to explain the question or questions. There's an option, and then cause the meeting to take place with those who are yes going forward.
In other news tonight, a judge takes an extreme measure today in court. The unlawful sex trial of Kofi Goodman hit with a major setback after the discovery today. Fern Carey was in court for the new twist in the case.
The unlawful sex case of 37-year-old Kofi Goodman, also known as Elvado Ferguson, came to an unexpected halt Tuesday on what was expected to be the second day of testimony. When the proceedings began, both sides were called into the chambers of Senior Justice John Isaacs for about an hour, and when they returned, members of the media were asked to clear the courtroom. A short while later, members of the media were invited to return to court, and the 9-member jury was also seated, but not for long. Justice Isaacs indicated moments later that he would have to discharge the jury as one of them is related to the mother of the 12-year-old victim. Justice Isaacs also noted that the court has to ensure that justice is not only done, but that justice be seen to be done, and he stressed that under the circumstances, no objective observer would be satisfied that something untoward was not going on. He then discharged the jury after thanking them for their service. Almost immediately, lead prosecutor Gavin Gaskins got down to the business of trying to secure an early date for the retrial, after indicating that the victim is transitioning from the traumatic experience and now has to rehash what happened. But Justice Isaacs was only able to offer a date in 2014 due to a full calendar of cases through 2013. Outside court, Goodman's attorney Jeffrey Farquharson noted that justice had been served.
There are some issues with respect to some of the evidence in the trial and whether he had sufficient time in order to respond to that. And I think that will be cured by the fact that there's going to be a new trial.
Goodman is also expected to stand trial next April for the murder of Marco Archer. In the meantime, 37-year-old Kofi Goodman will now have to be retried before another jury, but that's not expected to happen until May 12th of 2014. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Prime Minister Christie commented today on the NIB issue. The salaries of top executives were recently made public, along with the fact that they received pay hikes this past September. Prime Minister Christie said he wasn't aware that this was happening, and while the matter is under a special audit, he gave an example of how something like this could have happened.
Ordinarily, the Minister of Labour meets and reports to the cabinet if it becomes a matter of a trade union requirement. If there are executive adjustments being made, for example, the minister would have come into National Insurance, would have seen that the director was making a basic pay of $170,000. If that was the case, the minister might have felt that that adjustments needed to be made at the executive level, because the same kind of disparity exists in Parliament, where one day the former Prime Minister walked in and said the Speaker will now make $80,000 or $80,000 plus, and the Deputy Speaker makes $30,000. There is a glaring disparity in that. Given what they have to do, we have to make adjustments in that. The minister may have been confronted with that kind of position, and the board may have recommended to the minister making adjustments to have a realistic link between what the director was making and what other members of the executive was making. In any event, it's all a matter now open to review.
Meanwhile, Minister of Labour and Minister responsible for NIB, Shane Gibson, said public salaries shouldn't be up for discussion and public debate.
It is absolutely disgraceful that individuals who seek to leak personal information on employees on any in any entity, whether it's government or private. But all I'm saying is I'm not going to add it by discussing it.
Are you doing an internal investigation?
We are doing an investigation to try and determine how the information was leaked, why. Because I think it's wrong. People's personal information should be their personal information. And if we have to deal with certain situations when they come before us, then we deal with it, and we know how to deal with it effectively without going to the press.
It was yesterday that the Coconut Grove Business League, declaring it's prepared to go back to court to fight for compensation for business losses due to roadworks, suggested establishing a customs credit program as opposed to the relief program currently being organized by the government. Well, here's what the Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Michael Halkitis, had to say about that proposal.
I haven't seen it yet.
Do you think that will be something?
Well, what we told, listen, we announced a compensation plan, like we said, that will assist businesses. The Coconut Grove Business League has some ideas on some other things that they think need to be done. In my communication with them, I asked them that if they have a counter proposal to what we have, please present it to us. Whatever they present to us, we'll look at it, see if it's something that can be accommodated.
The customs credit.
You're saying that they said something about a customs credit. I think the proper way to do it is, if you have a counter proposal, please present it to the government. I don't want to comment on something that hasn't been officially put to the government. Okay, but I reiterate, we have a plan that we think can help some businesses. We know and we admit that it can't solve all the problems that they have. We want to assist. within the framework of what the country can afford. And we remain open to having discussions, continued discussions with the other business people to see what else we can do.
Now, Bo says stopping the bleeding for businesses on Blue Hill Road and Market Street is easy. Just restore the two-way traffic flow of 2 years ago.
Those roads can be turned back. Those roads need to be turned back in order to stop the bleeding. That is the most critical issue for the people in the Coconut Grove area. The roads must be restored to stop the bleeding, to stop the damages. Okay. And see, the damages persist as long as those roads are there, because the day they turn those roads one way, sales drop off the cliff.
Now, Minister of Works and Urban Development Philip Brave Davis said after the roads have been handed over to the government, all the concerns on the design of the roads will be taken into account.
Whenever JCC has completed the turnover process to us, and when the defect periods are during the course of the defect period, which is a year, consideration will be given to all the concerns of road users and stakeholders who are impacted by the new road, and those issues will be taken into account to make a determination whether or not the roads will be reversed.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, customs and immigration workers make their demands. Coming up, how this may affect your holiday travel. Stay tuned.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm